Ladies, my fellow mommies, we are always so busy, on the go, kids screaming in the back seat, sleeping babies. I have the ultimate hack for you.
Welcome to the Stay Fit Mom Podcast with Krista and Tracy, your go-to girls for health, fitness, and keeping it real in mom life.
If you can't seem to get in a good groove with your nutrition and exercise program, this is for you.
We've coached thousands of women using macros for over 8 years, and I'm well known around here for my 5-day meal prep videos.
What does a macro balanced meal look like?
Hit subscribe to the Stay Fit Mom Podcast and join us for a fun, meaningful journey toward a healthier, happier you.
You got this, Mom.
We're back with another episode. Krista is coming to us from her official new home. Her background screen, if you could see it, is just picture perfect.
Excited to be back in a new space. This feels way more cozy and just exciting. I remember last time we recorded, I thought, next time we record an episode, I'm going to be in my new house, my new setup. I won't be surrounded by boxes.
And you are, and it's beautiful.
I can see
God.
you're surrounded by laundry baskets. Is this the renovation that's going on?
I am in Siege's room. We're still plowing through it. I have paint all over my hands, face, hair. It's never ending paint process that we're in. Let's get into this episode. This episode is going to be about the new, what did you call it on Instagram? You said that this is your whole personality.
Oh, yes, it is right now for sure.
So this is the home build, home renovation personality episode. But before we get into all that, we're going to do our segments. So Krista, what's cooking this week? What's a meal that you made recently that you love?
I have to say, since we have been in the house just over a week, we're in that transition period where we're definitely not eating home cooked meals as often as usual. As soon as we moved into the house, I did have to get a few new recipes done. So I did cook some of those random things, but I did buy stuff at the grocery store this morning to make the one dish sun-dried chicken orzo tonight. I'm excited. That's a favorite. At least it's one of my favorites. My family will eat it.
You'll hear on the other podcast episodes, because I ask all the interviewers what's cooking. And I think it was Coach Laura said she is the biggest orzo recipe fan. Anything that you make with orzo, she's like, I feel like this chef.
It just feels a little fancy, right?
Yes.
I almost got on Instagram this morning because since we moved, I'm going to new grocery stores. I did go to the Albertsons down the street today. I haven't been a big Albertsons shopper. There was no orzo to be found on their entire pasta aisle, which was huge, way bigger than the neighborhood Walmart that I did all of my shopping the last 4 years. But I couldn't believe it. So I think I have enough at home to make it work. But
okay. Chris and I, every day for lunch, we've been having those buffalo breaded chicken from Sam's Club. Well, I mean, it's just a frozen fried chicken patty. It looks like a filet that you'd get from Chick-fil-A.
Okay. You throw it in the air fryer?
Put it in the air fryer, and then you put it on a salad with ranch dressing. It's so basic. So basic, so good. Hits the spot, makes me feel like I'm never going to Chick-fil-A again because this is just as good and it's fast enough. It feels like everything's hectic right now with renovating. Every moment is taken up with something that we're working on or doing. And so it's just very convenient to put it in the air fryer. I could make 2 at a time, make a lunch fast.
I should say, though we have been eating out more than usual, I can't believe our neighbors have been feeding my kids quite a bit. It's amazing.
Your kids just run over to the neighbors and they come home and they're like, I already ate, Mom.
Yeah, they'll be at the neighbor's house and they'll text me, usually the neighbor, hey, don't worry about McKenna. She's going to eat dinner with us. That's okay. And I'm like, great. We were busy cleaning the old house last night. I should say the first weekend we moved in, our friends invited us. It was Mother's Day. They're like, hey, we have extra for dinner tonight. You guys can come on over if you want. And I thought it was just like a casual meal. It was fantastic. Steak, appetizers, we had salad, everything. I couldn't even believe it. It was so good. Anyway, that's
so nice.
So wonderful. So we have had some good meals, but I haven't done a ton of cooking.
Some good meals and some good community. That's a neighbor that you want. You're moving in, you're frazzled, they're feeding your kids, they're inviting you over. I love it.
Yeah, that's been a cool, bizarre change.
Awesome. Okay, what's a hot mess moment that happened this week?
Do you have one that comes to mind? I thought of something earlier now. I'm trying to remember.
Well, we have 2 bird nests in our garage, and it's basically a hot mess everywhere in my house other than these remodel rooms that we've devoted every inch of our attention to. Everything else, you walk in and people are like, "Are you guys camping?" It just reminds me of the house that you've moved out of. Our ping pong table is covered in all sorts of boxes of stuff that's gonna be
Mhm.
somewhere. Our garage has got 2 stackable washer and dryers in there. We are living like hoarders, and that all feels like a mess. So anyway,
Yeah.
needless to say, I was not shocked when Chris called me and said, "There's birds in our garage. They've created a nest," because we do leave our garage door open because we're
Yeah,
going in and out
yes,
all
that's
the
what I was
time.
wondering. I messaged you right away. I'm like, "Is your garage door open all day long? How are these birds coming and going and building a whole nest?"
I couldn't believe it. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe I should be flattered or entertained. People are into birds these days, and they're just made a home. So,
That was funny.
oh,
Um,
I know. You need to update us on you said you were gonna update us on the lice.
the lice situation, oh my gosh,
Yes.
terrible. So, before we moved into the new house, I was determined. You know me, I suffer from "I can do it myself" syndrome,
Yep.
like everything. So I'm like, "Okay, I've never had lice before, but how hard can it be? I can do this." And it did start out great. I treated our hair. I was checking McKenna's every day, pulling out the little nits. That was going well. And then life got so busy with the move and I wasn't doing it every day. Then it came time to move into the house and I was like, I don't know if this is taken care of. I don't think it is. I found a lice clinic. There are lice clinics. And so I took McKenna and myself, I took her out of school. I marched in there the day before we were moving, and they treat you on the spot. It was really expensive. They do some heat treated something and pull all the nits out of your hair. I couldn't really do that myself.
That did the trick. You guys are
Yeah.
lice clinic done.
Yep. I've been hearing rumors about the lice swirling at the school, which is, I'm sure, where she got it to begin with and gave it to her lovely mother. I don't know if I mentioned this in I've learned so much about lice. They don't jump or fly, they just crawl. So unless you're head to head contact with someone, which McKenna and I are all the time, she's my little cuddle
Right.
buddy. You're not going to just get it from casual interactions with people or anything.
So what if she gets it again from school? Are you worried about that?
Now I know to just not waste my money on all the over the counter products and just march
Okay.
us right back to the clinic.
Okay, the lice clinic is the way to go. Splurge,
Yes.
spend the money, just do it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasted almost the same amount of money buying the stuff from Walgreens trying to do it myself.
Okay, partnership coming, sponsored.
Life Clinics of America. Yeah. Isn't it funny though? I had a friend message the other day. I never responded to her. I've been waiting to see her in person. She's like, "I heard about the lice is swirling at your school." They're homeschooled with the barfing emoji face. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." That's probably how I would have. That's how I always thought about it before too. So I don't blame her at all, but she has no idea that we were dealing with it.
You were like, "We
Um,
started that."
we started that. We got that way back at Easter Sunday. Yeah. So I just can't wait to see her in person and be like, "So, yes, I know all about it." She'll die. She knows.
I think it's great, and I think that's a good tangible takeaway. Lice clinic. Just go
Yeah.
straight to the clinic. I'm sure
Yes.
everyone has one nearby.
Well, yeah, they're called Lice Clinics of America. So I think they're in
Okay.
all major cities.
All right, what's a tiny joy, Krista? One simple thing that made you smile?
Immediately, what came to mind was I told Chad when we move in this new house. Oh, look, can you see my bed behind me made, Tracy? I
It's
was never
so
a bed
beautiful.
maker because in the rental, it was a disaster. And the last thing I cared about was making my bed. So I told Chad when we moved in, let's start a new habit, a new rule. Whoever gets out of bed last makes the bed, which is going to be me most of the time. I know that. Chad gets up before me, but he got up after me the other day and he made the bed. And I just couldn't even believe it. It made me so
Well,
happy,
I love
which is
it.
my love language, acts of service.
Getting into a made bed is the best. Yes, it looks beautiful too, and that's part of keeping your home beautiful, but to get into a made bed,
Yeah. And
love
our
it.
house, when you come in our garage, you can see straight into our bedroom.
But also, do you remember the make your bed fiasco in the Ninja Insider group? Remember we were going to
Yeah,
have that be a thing.
we're saying something about leaving the sheets exposed to air out
Yeah,
is a
what
great
was it? Like not bed bugs, maybe
thing.
mold or I don't know.
But I live in the desert, so I'm not really worried about
Yeah,
that.
you got nothing to worry about there. I have 2 dogs that sleep with me, so
What's your tiny joy
oh,
moment?
this is kind of funny. So our kids don't have social media. Our kids' friends all have social media. And so
Uh-huh.
they're following us on Instagram. So I have to be a little bit careful on what I post now. But if any of their friends have the commitment level to listen to a full podcast, I will be shocked.
I'm
But
sure they're not. They're not
I'm sure
tuning
they're not.
in.
Okay. So this is funny.
I can't wait.
Well, it's just silly. So Siege, him and his girlfriend have been together for a year and they're celebrating 1 year tomorrow. And
Oh,
I mean, a middle school relationship for a year, that's so long in middle school.
yeah.
And to put things in perspective, my daughter, she is like, "Oh, me and this boy are talking." And then she'll text me from her friend's phone 2 hours later, "Mom, it's not happening anymore. We're not talking." So, I mean,
Cute.
that's how
That's
fast. Not even 1 class period. Some of these relationships don't even last 1 class period. So 1 year is a big deal. Anyway, we had the state track meet and there was the 8th grade dance the weekend of the state track meet. I was very frustrated by that. I was annoyed. That's a milestone to go to the 8th grade dance. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he didn't get to go. So I said, "How about this, Siege? We take me and your dad. We'll take you and Stella on a sunset boat cruise to dinner on the water, you and your girlfriend." So we're doing that tomorrow, and I'm just excited. He was all for it. He was like, "Yes, this
Oh,
sounds
cool.
perfect."
So he's a romantic.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think he just anyway, he was into it.
How
So
fun.
this is another funny part about it. They're talking on the phone, and I find out, something about the parents, and I was like, "Should we invite the girlfriend's parents?" And immediately, Siege is like, "No, do not invite." He was so nervous about the
I
parents.
yeah, that would make me super nervous if
Yeah,
I were Siege.
yeah.
How funny.
So
It's just so I love hearing these stories about the girlfriends and boyfriends because my kids just aren't really talking about that yet. They tease each other about it. And I did find a whole text thread. So my oldest son, he has a phone, but he knows we can look through it when we want. And we probably don't look through it as often as we should, but every kid's different. I probably
yeah.
will look through my middle child's phone way more often than my oldest. But I found this text thread with a girl, and it was just so funny because she's been texting him for months. And at first I was like, who is this girl? Like, this is this spam? That's my biggest fear is to have someone try to scam him. But he does not give her the time of day. And it's just so funny. She will text him trying to talk to him, and he'll just give her one word answers all the time.
I feel
He
like one word answer is kind of the middle school way of saying, "I'm into you." I don't
maybe.
know.
I mean, I don't know, but it's just funny. They don't talk every day, but it'll be like for a few days and then a week or two will go by. She doesn't even go to his school.
Oh.
Anyway, that's the closest.
The closest thing with middle school drama. I think that
Yeah.
we are full-fledged in the drama because I have 4 middle schoolers. So they're all one starts and then they all start. The other night, we're all sitting around in the living room and one of them tells me, "Mom, you gotta hear this story." And they're all on the edge of the seat listening. I was walking in the hallway. I was running an errand for a teacher with a friend, and I walk by and there is this boy and girl holding hands, and a teacher is about to walk by. The boy pulls the girl into the locker. Mom, they started making out. And I thought, really? And I like that they're open and they're just telling me all these things. I'm like, making out. And then my elementary schoolers are listening and they're like, none of this is happening in elementary school. Just-
That
anyway,
is
we can
so
talk about this forever.
I was just gonna say, you brought up the 8th grade dance, and my son mentioned to me last night he had a big 8th grade barbecue today. I had to go pay his Chromebook fines or whatever before he could go. And I'm like, "What about the dance?" And he's like, "Oh, that was a few days ago. We weren't going to that." I'm like, "What? I can't believe you didn't even consider it. That was a big deal when we had I remember my 8th grade dance. That is a core memory.
That's
That's
what I'm
like
saying.
so
What
I'm
is
bummed out.
wrong
I
with
didn't
these
go.
kids? Oh, Well, I'll tell you right now, if they start missing homecoming and prom,
Oh,
I will
no.
yeah,
No.
they better
And
not.
yeah, every girl should experience homecoming and prom. So I'm going to be making sure that my boys go and take a girl.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, we're gonna have lots to talk about in the next few years. Well, let's get into the episode, which is our whole personalities right now. Stay Fit Mom slash construction zone, home build, home renovation mom. All right, Krista, if you could describe the current state of your house right now, describe it in one word.
Boxes.
Hmm. I was
Kind of
really
like,
hoping that wasn't going to be a word for you because
oh
that's been a
man.
word for you for a long time.
Oh, dang it. Did I already use that one before?
No, I just mean I do remember your word of the year was supposed to be peace.
Like
Do you
cozy. It was cozy.
cozy? Do you
Isn't
feel
it?
that yet?
Yes.
Yes.
I love creating all these little cozy spaces like my podcast area. But I still have piles of things that need a home or need to be hung up.
Yep.
But I'm determined to do all that. You will not catch me with frames and things on my floors for years before I put them up. I will be putting all of that up. I like my home to be done.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like I'm making great progress, but
You are making great progress. Do you feel overwhelmed by it at all or no? You're past the overwhelm.
I feel overwhelmed with the rental right now. And
Okay,
chat.
so tell us about that. What's going on with the
We have
rental?
to be out by the 30th in 8 days, have
Oh,
it cleaned out. We've been moving ourselves the last 2 weeks, just lots of slow loads, but there's just still so much stuff in there. We might have to rent a dumpster and just throw
yep.
it all. Old beds and dressers that didn't make it to the new house. We knew they weren't. What do we do with them? So we need to get rid of everything and clean it. But we're
Okay.
getting there. We got 8 more
Is
days.
somebody moving into that house? Do you know?
Yeah, so my dad is the landlord. He doesn't own the home, but he models them and then he rents them out for an investor. So yeah, he had originally told me when we moved into the house that he was just going to be selling it when we moved out. He wasn't going to fix it up or anything. Don't worry about the carpets. Anyway, he told me, no, it's in good condition. We're just going to rent it right back out.
Okay. So
So,
here we go. 8 days and it's back on the market.
yep. But it's
Wow.
still full of furniture and trash and looks like a bomb went off in it. It looks like someone threw a grenade, all the trash and just
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah. I could
Anyway,
see why that would be.
that's consuming my mind. I want to just be done with that so I can just
Yeah.
focus on this house.
Got it. That's all makes sense now. Okay.
What's your word?
Oh, my word?
Yeah, your word that describes your house right now.
Yeah. I think the word is almost,
Yeah.
but
That's a
I
good
feel
one.
like that might be the word all year long. I just feel like we're so close, but then it's like, are we so close? So we're at the time of this recording, we're going to be getting floors put in a week from today. And then after the floors are put in, we're going to move in. But we still need to have closets. Our closet has walls, but it doesn't have a closet organizational system.
Yeah.
We still have to put baseboards in. Chris needs to build us a door. There's just key pieces that still need to take place. So I don't know when we're going to feel done. But
Yeah. But so you're going to move in even though it's not done.
100%. 100%. And that's actually another fear though, because yes, I am moving in as soon as we have floors and we can. But also, you know how sometimes you just move in a little too early and then you just start to get comfortable with things the way they are. Oh, do we really need baseboards? It's a silly thing.
Yeah.
Yes, we need
That's like,
baseboards.
we had said that when we were building. We are not moving in before everything is finished. We want it to be done. We've got time and then we will move in. Which I
Yeah.
feel like we did pretty good, but there's still plenty to do.
Yeah. And I mean, when you're living in your forever, it just feels like that word forever just means that you're going to be doing projects forever, really. There's always something else that you could be doing. And that sometimes is overwhelming to me a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're grateful for sure. Okay. What's been your biggest hot mess moment of this home build process?
I was really thinking hard about this one. I even asked Chad this morning, was there one thing that was a disaster on the build? And he's like, everything, but also nothing really. So I was really thinking hard and it hit me when I was grocery shopping this morning. Remember when I was sharing about my beautiful tongue and groove on my porch? My front
Yes.
back porch. And then the painters just decided to spray on the stain and not wipe it off, and they were ruined forever. And that was just a disaster.
I remember that. I was really hurting for you then. That was bad.
And
But it's
just
fine now.
it's better. It's still not fine. They scrubbed it with paint lacquer and lacquer thinner to try and fix it, but it still does not look the way I envisioned it. But it's fine. It's just one of those things where I'm like, well, I'm not buying new tongue and groove. It's too
Right.
expensive,
Right.
and we'll just deal with it. And we moved on, and I don't think about it too much.
I'm proud of you for that. When I was there, it was up and I didn't think it looked terrible. It looked
Oh,
great.
thanks.
Yeah.
My neighbors, to put it into perspective a little bit, my neighbors did a ton of tongue and groove. It looks beautiful. But on their outside, they were like, we opted out of staining it at all. We were just, we'll be honest, we were a little nervous after your fiasco because I had told them about it.
We
Like,
learned from your
"Art
mistake.
move.
Well,
Don't
that's
ruin that
fine.
beautiful tongue and groove. Just let it be natural."
Our biggest hot mess, I would just say Chris is also, when you said, I'm a do everything myself person, Chris is 100% on your level. We will do everything ourselves. And I guess the biggest overarching theme of this project has been we've bitten off more than we can chew. And the other upsetting thing about it is it was already price wise pretty astronomical. So we're like, we'll do all of these things to offset it.
Mhm.
And then it really didn't even, the price was still astronomical and we're still killing ourselves. That's kind of how it feels. I don't feel like, well, at least we're killing ourselves, but we're saving so much money. Nope, it's taking every penny,
Yeah.
every penny and then some. And so that's the part that's such a gut punch because I want to be like, well, we're doing this. And because we're doing this, we're going to have so much money left over. No, that's
Mhm.
not the case.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
that's to be expected, right? I guess. I don't know. And I've
Yeah.
learned a lot. Well, I guess we'll get into that, but I was just going to say I've learned the value of why everything is so expensive because the labor is so ridiculous. It's hard. These guys will come in here and it feels to me like we've been doing everything, but the reality is we have contracted out a ton. They just come in here, finish it in 6 hours and leave. And I'm like, oh, all of the plumbing is done. Okay, that would have taken us like 6 months. But
Yeah.
because they're so efficient and they have a
Mhm.
crew, they come in and out and they boom, have it done. But this keeps ringing true for me in this process. My friend said, you can only have two of the three. And here's the three: beautiful, cheap, fast. You only get two out of the three. So you can either have beautiful and fast. It ain't going to be cheap. You can have beautiful and cheap. It's
It'll
not
take
going to
work.
be fast. You can have cheap and fast, and it will not be beautiful. And so I
Mhm.
keep thinking about that. Just thought that
Yeah.
was like insightful.
That's so true. Yeah, there's definitely been quite a few things that are like sucker punch that you're like, "Why is this so expensive?" I think in most cases, it's like, yes, it's worth the expense, but there are definitely some things where they come in and they whip out a project in half a day. You're like, "Why do these people make $4,000 an hour? I don't understand."
Yeah. But then on the other side, you're like, well, they've perfected the process. I kind of think about when people come to us for coaching and we have already become so efficient at how we need to set your macros, what tools that you need. You're getting this completed package that's so efficient versus trying to figure it all out on yourself and find all the articles and piece things together. I don't know. You're paying for that efficiency, I guess what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes we think to ourselves, "Did we really save money doing this build ourselves, so much of it, because it took us so long?" Who
Who
knows?
knows? Who knows? But you sure learned a lot, Krista. You've learned a ton.
We have, and it's definitely cool to do. You guys know to put in so much time and effort and be like, "I did that." It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Hopefully, at the very least, it's saving us money back end, which what I mean by that is we're moving at the speed of cash around here. And I feel very blessed to be moving at the speed of cash, I guess is what I'm saying. And I think We could have easily taken out a whole freaking ton of money to do this and then had interest, paid interest. Okay, so if your build were a reality TV show episode, what would the title be?
It's never easy. That's our motto. Chad and I will get so frustrated doing the simplest things, and we just have to laugh at each other because we're like, we thought just hanging this TV real quick tonight would be easy, but something always is wrong, or you got to go to the store for something.
One
That's
more
just
part
like,
you missed. Yep.
yeah, every
Okay.
single time.
Which reminds me, we never went over the last time you were a Karen. The last time.
I don't think I'm ever a actual Karen, but I do have Karen thoughts. As I get older, I feel like, you get braver. I want to say things sometimes to people.
I have to say, it's really funny to hear you say, I want to say these things. If you know Krista in real life, she is least confrontational, never wants to aggravate anybody, peacekeeper to the nth degree. And so I think it's funny that you're like, I have thoughts that are like Karen. So let's hear it.
Yes. It's been all over social media for the last few years how tipping is out of control.
Yes.
And for things that tips are expected, I'm a great tipper. I'm not cheap. But when it's things you typically don't tip for, we went to this lice clinic. Speaking of the lice clinic, it's a medical clinic. We went in. It's not like we were getting our hair dyed. And I told you it was really expensive. Well, then they turn the screen around and want a tip. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I just felt so taken advantage of. I don't know. I just could not believe it. I would never say anything. I just did a custom tip. I was not tipping 30% on getting my lice treated. That's my Karen moment. It took me like a whole day to get over that.
We're going to be going to the doctor's office and they're going to be like, put your tip in.
Right? It's just wild. I'd rather they just build it into the price. Just add that 30% onto my lice treatment and don't ask me for a tip. What about you? Do you have
Well, I was just
Karen
thinking
ever?
in regards, I have several Karen moments, Krista. Unlike you, I will go one of two ways. I'm either, oh, I cannot let this fly, and Karen's coming out, or the reverse, and I'm like, it's totally fine. I don't mind. And I have to make up my mind which one's coming out. So, because of the remodel space, we're remodeling our laundry room. We had to put our washer and dryer into the garage temporarily. Well, you can't put a gas dryer in the garage. So we had to get an electric dryer. Long story short, I go to Best Buy to buy an electric dryer. And it's this new electric dryer. And we got bottom of the barrel, cheap electric dryer, never gets used because I had a dear friend say, I have an electric dryer and we have an extra. You can just borrow it for as long as you need. What a sweet gift. Thank you. So I had been thinking in my mind, we've got to return this dryer. We've got to return this dryer. But in my mind, 30-day return window,
Mm.
we get in there and it's day 15. And they're like, you're 2 days outside of the return window for this brand new dryer that has never been used. It was short return window, 14 days. What ended up happening was Chris took back the dryer. He's with his dad at Best Buy. And he's like, they won't take it back. They say it's 2 days out of the return window. And I'm just like, what? Steam is coming out of my ears. Are you kidding me? They won't take it back. I'm like, Chris, put him on the phone. Put him on the phone.
Chris was
My
nervous
kid,
or what?
well, Chris is just not confrontational. He's like,
Right.
we'll just fork out an extra $500 where, that just feels like, sure, just take
That's
another
a lot.
$500.
Yeah.
I
For a
know.
dryer, you don't need.
I don't need at all. Yeah. So anyway, I am like, listen, there has to be some button that you can press on that computer that will override this return window because this dryer has never been used. And he just, no, would not budge, Krista. And I was like, let me talk to somebody that is more control than you. Give me somebody higher up in the line. I am the highest up in line, ma'am. And no. Well, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I will never buy from you ever again. Like
Yeah.
this guy cares. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I hang up the phone. I'm just so angry about it. And my blood is just boiling about this whole situation, mostly because I just feel like it's unreasonable. It's day 15. This is silly. It's never been used. I am so frustrated. I called a friend about it and she was like, you should just call Best Buy. Just call the online number and just see what they say about it. So I tell them the whole situation and they're like, oh, ma'am, we can override that. You just need to
Oh
talk
my
to them.
gosh.
Yeah, you just need to talk to the manager. Da, 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 da. They gave me specific names for that store. And
Huh.
I went in person and I was like, I'd like to talk to Ricardo or whoever, can't remember who the name was, and told them the whole situation. He pushed one button and took the dryer back.
Oh
And I
my
was
god.
so frustrated. I mean, I was so happy and relieved, but also, who was that guy on the phone?
Yeah. Oh,
I got a Karen side of me, Krista. That's
yeah.
what that means.
Yep. I sometimes I want to say things to people like, I will leave you a terrible review on Google, but I don't actually. But yeah. And as we get older, we're wiser. We know there's a button. We know we're not being unreasonable. You can still sell this machine.
Oh.
I'm frustrated for you now, but okay.
Okay, so wait, did I ever say what our TV show would be called?
No, you did.
Um, it would be, let me ask ChatGPT. While I'm doing that, you think of this question. What has surprised you most about building your home? Okay. This is what I put in ChatGPT. Help me come up with a TV show title for my home renovation. It has taken every dollar I've had, left me broke, but it'll be beautiful. It says, The House
But
That Emptied Me. That sounds
oh,
awful.
yeah.
Fixer Upper, Funds Lower. Champagne Taste, Ramen Budget. That might be my favorite. Uh, I don't know. Just broke but beautiful.
Yeah.
Demoed my bank account. Any of those
Oh,
will
yeah,
work.
that's a good one. Demo the bank. I like that one the best.
Demoed my bank account.
Bank
Okay, we'll go with
account
that.
surprised me most. There were definitely a lot of surprises when it came to the cost of things, but I don't know. It's just wild. I can look at a space now and I'm like, I know what the inside of that wall looks like. Before you would look at a beautiful home and you're like, wow. And I still look at it that way, of course, but I also look at it and I'm like, I can just see the guts of it still,
Yep.
you know?
You're like, that's 2x4 right there
Yep.
behind
That's
that
my
sheetrock.
door. Chad, it took him 3 days to install the under sink plumbing and that. Just everything has a little story, which is so cool. But yeah, I just look at the house so differently.
That is cool.
What about you? About your renovation?
Um,
Other than it taking way longer than planned, right?
I think we're kind of surprisingly within the time constraints because it said 3 to 4 months. I guess what surprised me is I've been living this way for 4 months, Krista, and you've had to live this way for 5 years. I feel terrible complaining about any of it. Krista's lived like this for 5 years. I am
Yeah.
100 days in and crying like a baby.
Yeah. Now that I know how much everything costs, it all blows my mind every time we get a quote for anything. I'm just like, oh my gosh. If I could go back, so we were in the rental for 4 years. So I feel like for 4 years is how long we lived like hoarders. If I could go back, I added it up. If we would have just rented out a storage unit, I probably would have just done it. Would have made life so much easier, or at least it seems like. But I feel like it would have been worth the price now that I've compared it to what we paid for everything else. So it would have
Right.
been worth my sanity.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're always trying to save a buck somewhere, though.
I feel like I did really great with living in the hoarding situation. Only one time I broke down, and maybe I already mentioned this on one of the past episodes where I just sat on the kitchen floor. This was probably a month before we were finished and moving. And I just cried, and Chad happened to come home, and I'm not a crier. And
Right.
he found me sitting there and he just felt bad. I'm like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I've been so patient, but I'm just done. I don't want to deal with this kitchen. My kitchen sprayer, every time I spray it, it shoots out the opposite direction. So many little things. That house was falling apart. I was just over
Mhm.
it.
There's just so many parallels to that and people's weight loss journey. I just feel like there's a point, and it's usually comes when you're so close to a breakthrough. You wait one more week and things are gonna turn around. Can you imagine if you were like, "I can't do this anymore. I quit, Chad." And it would have been 1 month before you're gonna obviously, you weren't gonna
Yeah.
do that. We have big feelings, and I validate that. I think it's fine.
I feel like the hardest thing about the whole build, and you hear all the time, if your marriage can survive a renovation or a home build, you are set. And it's not that we ever argued, but it was Chad's frustration. And I'm sure it had everything to do with him being so hands on with the build. That was the hardest thing. He would come home so frustrated because the faucet I bought doesn't even work right with the plumbing fixtures and he doesn't even know what he's doing. And just that was hard. Of course, that took a toll on me because I felt bad and I'm his person and he wants to vent to me. That was the hardest part of the whole build. I'm not great at being his person. A lot of times I'd be like, I feel like I'm getting in trouble. You're venting this to me and I feel like it's my fault. And anyway, we definitely had those moments.
And also just perspective. Anytime he's doing this as his full-time job, and I just think we're so stretched in terms of time. Little sleep, you're trying to get 10 hours of work done in a 7-hour day because you have kids that are coming home, and I feel like lack of sleep also makes it more hard, and just a shorter fuse, I guess.
And yeah. And like I said, I get it. I can't imagine trying to do something I don't know how to do. I've never done before.
But now that you're moved in, do you feel like that's been lifted a little bit, or is he still stressed about several things in the house happening?
We do have some stressful situations still, like things maybe not working, but for the most part, everything's been pretty great. We're happy.
Good. Okay, something that you're incredibly proud of or excited about.
I love this part of it, like moving in and decorating. I feel like in my next life, I would love to be an interior designer. That's been so fun. I love going to Target or Home Goods and just looking for decor or looking for things that we need. I needed soap trays. To me, that's been so fun. And I think I do a pretty good job.
Yeah,
Just
you do. You do a great job and it all fits. I'm like, what picture frame do I get to go with this piece of art that I got? I stress over every little situation. So I do think it's a gift that you can just pull it all together. That's part of your giftings for sure.
well, thank you. I guess I could say I'm just proud of it. I feel like it's all kind of come together and it's looking good.
Any lessons came straight from a meltdown or mistake? I guess I'll just share that I'm learning so much that I didn't know before, like placement of where the lights should be in regards to your vanity mirrors. And there's a lot of rules that I didn't know when it comes to design. I was just like, those lights look good and that looks fine. But I guess that there's some basic rules. Are you following these rules? Do you know
Like
this, Krista? I
design
just
rules.
design rules.
What's funny is we had already picked out our house plans and installed windows and things. I bought this book that's called Get Your House Right. And it's for more of a traditional home. Your windows should be more vertical and just things
See,
like that.
that's
And
the
I'm
kind
like,
of stuff that I'm talking about.
yeah.
I
But
have
I
no
wish I
idea.
read it. But it was also helpful because a lot of things I was like, oh, we did that right or this right. And it helped me make some design decisions down the line, like picking out tiles and things. But yeah, I don't know that I
Anyway,
followed all the rules.
one of the rules that I'm thinking of is, oh, you want your nightstands to be within 2 inches of the top of your bed or within 4 inches. The nightstand could be 2 inch higher, 2 inch lower. The size of a chandelier in regards to the whole room.
All those rules.
Really? Is your chandelier way bigger?
Oh my gosh. We got out our bathroom chandelier. I bought it forever ago. It was up in the attic and the box was huge. Me and Chad were like, gosh, they must have just packaged it really well. Opened it and he's like, I don't know if this thing's gonna fit in the bathroom. But it did. It's big, but also it looks beautiful.
It's stunning. I love that bathroom
I
chandelier. I
know,
think it
but
looks great.
if you applied all those rules, it's probably too big. I like guidelines, but also I think you can get away with breaking the rules when
Yeah,
you want to
if
too.
you really love something, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those rules have been helpful to me. I've just learned a
Yeah.
lot about that. How does this house process reflect something deeper you're working on? Habits, health? Do you have an answer for that?
I don't like the clutter. I don't like the mess. I feel like my mind is more free to think and be creative and to cook meals. And I just feel like you free up so much space when you organize. I love organizing. I want to get it all done just so I can have that space to.
As content creators, that's part of our job. It does require you to have a certain level of space in your mind to get creative. And when you're overstressed, overstimulated, overcommitted, it's hard to be creative in that way. I have felt that many a days. I have no brain cells left in me to figure this out.
Yeah.
So true.
If I had a weight loss journey, it was definitely a postpartum, which seems like
Right.
forever ago now, 10 years ago almost. I remember thinking like, "Oh, this is gonna take forever." And then anything worth having, I just remember always telling myself that then. And even now, anything worth having takes time and commitment and determination. And that's exactly how it was for the weight loss journey. And that's exactly how it's been for this home build multiple times before we got started. When we were waiting all those almost 4 years just to get all our permits in order, multiple times Chad was like, forget it. Let's just sell this land and go buy a home and fix it up, or let's just move out of state and buy a beautiful home in the mountains. We
You
just,
really had to like hang on to that dream
yeah,
and dig in your heels to actually achieve it for
like,
sure.
yeah, stay focused on the end prize.
Yeah. I was just going to add that when you look back on this time, I feel like you're going to look back and go, oh, that really wasn't as, you might have a little PTSD here and there from some things, but overall, you're going to live in this house for the next forever years and you'll comparatively go, "Oh, that wasn't really that long."
I sure hope so. Yeah.
Hopefully you'll forget.
Would love to be in this home forever, but who knows? When I'm
I
70
know.
years old, this home is probably going to be too big.
I know. That's
You never
crazy to
know.
think. Let's not think about that right now.
I know, it's depressing.
You can move into your parents' casita. What's going on with that?
So they're finishing. I get this question a lot, actually. My dad is helping finish up my sister's house next door. They're going to be calling in their final next week. So they should be wrapping up. I think June 5th is their deadline they're trying to meet. And then he should be working on the casita. I'm sure we'll be helping them move out of their home.
Your home.
My home my dad built when I was a baby,
That's
which will be
wild.
bittersweet too. Yeah. But yeah, you
What
never
about
know. We might end up living in that casita one day.
That's crazy to think. What about what's your mailbox situation?
We had drama with our mailbox because we subdivided 5 families into this. We had one lot we purchased. We subdivided it between 5 families. Anything more than 4 is considered a subdivision. So our whole neighborhood, everybody has their own cute individual mailboxes. Well, they were like, nope, you're a subdivision. You need to get one of the big boxes with the parcel, which is fine. Who cares? I don't really care. I did want a cute little mailbox, but yeah, I finally went online and had my change of address. I submitted that yesterday. So how much more time before you're going to be done with your renovations?
So this is another thing about our renovation. So we have renovated a wing of our home. And the wing is substantial. If you looked at our home, it's probably 1/5 to 1/4 of our home. So it's a big portion of our home. Now, Krista, I'm walking in that wing and I'm like, well, everything looks beautiful over here.
Yeah.
We had desires to renovate the downstairs and the kitchen renovation and take some walls down, make it more open. But it is going to be hodgepodge central for a while because the wing is just so beautiful. And then even the painting, and we don't have clear lines where it's like, oh, just stop painting here. This is a silly thing, but we got new floors for the whole house, but we're not installing them because we're only installing the new wing and all of the upstairs in anticipation that at some point in the future, but we just don't know how long in the future, the rest of it's going to be done.
Right.
And so
You
I'm
have
like,
all the flooring though? You don't have all the flooring
no, we already purchased all of the flooring.
for the
Yes,
whole house.
correct.
Okay. I just
So
would hate to see you go to do the rest of the house and you're like, we can't even buy it now. I feel like that happened.
exactly. We knew that that would be a thing that could happen, which is why we bought it for the whole house.
Okay.
But it's not going to all be installed for the whole house. So for a number of who knows how long, we'll just live in a little bit of a Anyway, but painting, I have this memory of Chris's mom always painting, like me going over to Chris's house, and she would always have a roller in her hand. And I remember being like, why is your mom always painting things? And now I'm like, well, this is why your mom was always painting things, because the only thing that is really keeping you from a beautiful transformed space is a paint roller and some tape, because it makes so much difference. The paint is such a significant. I've been painting for the last month and it looks so good in there.
The hallway area, you showed how we knocked down that wall. Is that
Yeah.
how that paint doesn't match the rest of your living room? Or did you
It's not going to. That is correct.
know? So you're planning to paint the whole living room.
Yes.
What's great about paint too is you could do that. Paint is inexpensive compared to
Right.
the cost of
Right.
buying all new furniture, and you
Right.
can do that yourself. It's it's
Right.
work, but you could knock it out little by little.
And that's what we're just gonna have to do. I said this whole living room has got to be painted this color, but just little things that it's almost done. I'll be
Yeah.
saying that for the next 2 years. It's almost done.
But those are the things I love. It's so rewarding to paint a space and be like, "Wow, it looks so different and beautiful."
Yes. Yes, that is true. But the other thing that I have in the back of my mind is we have 5 boys and a rowdy girl, and I hope that I'm chill,
Mhm.
because do you feel chill? Because you've put a lot of money and a lot of sweat and tears into it, and then they go and jump up and
Right.
slam something shut, and you're like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
but I gotta be chill, Krista. It's
I
gotta be a
know.
home for them."
We had this conversation with our neighbors. So our neighbors, I don't know if I told you, the Motts just moved in this week.
Oh, exciting. You didn't.
So exciting. I mean, their kids are here right now and just hanging out on the other side of the house.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
so great. The kids going from house to house. We know 6 or 7 families on this
Oh,
street. And kids
what a
they're
trip.
experiencing this for the first time ever, Tracy. Like
Oh,
McKenna wanted to go play with the girls down the street the other day. Mom, will you go down there with me? I'm like, listen, all you got to do is you go knock on the door and you say, can so and so play? And if they say she can't play right now or she's not home, you just say, okay, thank you. And you come home. It's totally fine. Nothing to be embarrassed about. They had
oh,
no idea.
was a possibility.
That's
Oh, it's so
so
sweet.
great. But their house is just incredible, my new neighbors. And he was saying last night, I just really want to keep a beautiful home, but I also love having all the kids over. He ordered pizzas the first night they all moved in and had a big movie night, invited all the kids in the neighborhood. He's like, I just know you probably can't have both. We're gonna try. And the dogs is a whole nother thing. Dogs love to destroy your home and your rugs.
Right.
It's just a forever project owning a home.
Kinda
Let's
like it's forever working on your health. There's just gonna be ebbs and
yeah.
flows where
Oh my
seasons
god.
where it's
Yeah.
harder. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying yes, I completely agree. It's not
Yeah.
like you ever get to the point where you're like, "It's done. I'm at my goal weight and I look
Right.
perfect." You gotta maintain that.
It's
Yeah.
forever. But there is definitely that tension of, I want to be the house that invites.
Well, there's nothing wrong with having rules. We
Yeah,
wanna
I
all
know.
become one of
You're right.
those no shoes in the house families.
The what family?
No shoes in the house. A
Oh,
lot of our
yep.
neighbors are already that way, so the kids all just know and do it anyway, but it's
Perfect.
new for us. Maybe I should be embarrassed about that, but
No, we're not that way, and it kills me because there's just always sand everywhere.
that's dust right now for us.
Yeah, and
But I
that's
mean
a really good rule to enact when you don't have landscaping in the front yard
yeah.
or
Tracy,
backyard.
our
You
first
gotta
week living here, there was this crazy dust, windy night, and we were out not in the main room of the house, and the front door our door is like this iron door. Everybody
Yeah.
always thinks it's locked when it's not. So in my mind, I didn't think the wind was gonna blow it open. It had blown it open, Tracy. My son came running in, he's like, "Mom, the whole house is like a dust cloud." This is and he shut the door and Tracy it all settled. There's dust everywhere. It's
From the
just
dust
oh my
storm.
gosh. Yes, it all settled. Yeah, we're surrounded by dirt, our new house, so
So
I'm
can
sure it's
you,
gonna be like this
like,
for a while. The next morning, you just went like this with your finger on the kitchen island covered in dust. I wiped a lot of stuff down, but
okay.
that was kind
Wow.
of a bummer our first week moving in after everything had been cleaned, and I wanna do landscaping.
Yeah.
Driveways, Chad and his dad are gonna start forming. They were gonna start tomorrow, but they might have to postpone, but driveways and getting a few trees planted are goals these next few months.
Perfect. It never ends, but I do feel like not having the sand tracked everywhere and the dust, because
Mhm.
that is hard. How do you approach building consistency in a season that feels unpredictable? That kind of just makes me think of what's anchoring you in this crazy season of upheaval. So we're still in it. We're still in the season of upheaval. And thankfully, we're not remodeling a kitchen. So we still have our kitchen,
Mhm.
but I feel like we're still having dinners every night. We're still doing
Yeah,
things that are anchoring us
yeah,
amidst
that's
every
very
room in the house is covered by all these things, but we're having dinner every night at the table.
yeah,
So,
oh, that's great.
yeah, we just have to. I have to feed my children. It's funny because I've always wanted to be a mom that had dinner because I didn't have that growing up. It was just my brother and I. My brother's 6 years older than me. You know, my mom was a full-time working single mom and would drive through every night, and I always was like, "I really want family dinners to be a thing for me." And we have it.
Like it or not, we have to do it.
Exactly.
I won't lie, I sometimes think about you. Nights where I'm just like, "Oh, I just don't have it in me." My kids are pretty great about finding something. I always have the uncooked tortillas and cheese in
Yep.
my fridge. That's always like "Well, you can have TCTs tonight or
Right.
chicken out of the freezer and air fry it." But I always think, "Oh, Tracy, she probably doesn't have that ability to just be
Well,
like,
I just feel
I
like
just
you
don't feel
can't.
like it."
I mean, some nights, but it's a rare occasion where we have enough food floating around for 8 people. It's kind of like if you were gonna invite guests over, could you just whip up quesadillas for all the guests? So, anyway,
Yeah,
some nights we do that, and if we have a lot of leftovers, we will have leftover nights where it's like, "We gotta get through these," and we'll just put all the leftovers on the island, and then it's like, you can only warm up something that's in here. I don't even want them to make quesadillas because then they're not getting into the leftovers, you know?
yeah. They probably love those nights though, yeah? You can pick what they like.
No, my
No?
kids love a cooked from scratch meal, not
Oh my
cooked from scratch,
goodness.
but you know what I mean. To be honest, we don't have very many leftover nights because we eat so much food, so they're not really used to it. But I will say that's been very grounding, and I think it's gonna be something that my kids growing up will be like, "My mom cooked dinner every night."
Yeah. You know what else is so wild? I didn't mention this at all. I almost feel emotional thinking about it. I have so much more time in my day. It's wild. I spent so much time driving my kids to school or going and picking them up after school or driving across town for this and that. And it's like all of a sudden my days are so long. And like time is just something
Whoa.
you cannot buy, you know?
It's about to be even longer because you're gonna get out of that rental.
I know. I was driving there last night and it had been a few days and I was just like, this is just so great that I'm not driving down this street anymore multiple times a day. Commuting is rough. I used to have to drive to work 40 minutes, and that was so hard. But just knowing my kids can just go down the street and get on the school bus right from home now is just, oh, such
And
a
they've been
wonderful
doing that
feeling.
the last week of school, they've been riding the bus?
They would take the bus home already, it's just to the house because Chad was working here and wait around for me or Chad to be done to go home, and they
Great.
hated it, those poor kids. It just made for the longest days for them, and now they just come home at 2:30 and they have the rest of the day. They're already home. I
Uh-huh.
don't know, that
Oh,
just
I love
makes me
that. Well, I think we need more Instagram footage of the playing of the kids. I'm sure that your neighbors have all signed a disclosure that says they're fine being on Stay Fit Mom social media
yeah,
because I just gotta see them all playing together. I think that is so awesome. So fun.
it's been fun.
Okay, well, this was the long version of what you've been seeing in bits and pieces in Krista and I's stories. Well, Krista for the last 5 years and me for the last 100 days, which feels like 5 years to me.
This was fun.
So fun. Okay, well, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
We appreciate you tuning in to the Stay Fit Mom podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Connect with us on social media and head to stayfitmom.com for more resources and tips. You've got this. See you next time.